Well, it's winter, guys. I mean, technically it's not yet, but it's winter enough. Okay. Mother Nature, she doesn't really want to go by our calendar dates. If she wants to give us winter sooner than it's supposed to come, then that's what she's going to do. Okay? We don't complain when she gives us warm weather early. So what can we do, right? This is what it is. Let's see. It started snowing around 5 this morning. I know that because the damn dog woke us up. And at some point since then, it has turned to freezing rain, sleet, whatever you want to call it. I'm heading into town. I should have thought about this, but I don't follow the weather like a lot of people do. So I wasn't aware that we were going to have this snow. I should have brought my laptop home with me yesterday to work from home. But I'm going into town to do that now. Grab the laptop, go home, start a nice big fire in the stove, and warm up the house. And that's what I'm going to do. That's what I'm going to do. What do you want from me? That's what I'm going to do. For those of you who are wondering, we are driving through the sprawling metropolis known as Fairfield, Pennsylvania, home of Pippin Fest and Mansion House 1757, which is the home of Tavern Talks. And I don't want to be premature, but I had a very promising conversation with our anonymous donor. And it looks like we'll be doing another 4 episodes of Tavern Talks in 2026. So that is great news, among other things, which I will share with you later. Oh, by the way, if you're coming to the Christmas party, we're going to have a silent auction for some pretty cool artifacts and books that we have accumulated, Court and I, over the last year or so. And all proceeds will go straight into the coffers of the Digital History Pioneers Foundation. Court is getting photos and information together today, and if you are on the list for the party on Saturday, I will send you an email with all of those photographs and the pertinent information. We'll have a QR code, so if you don't want to bring cash or checks with you, you can do your bidding there. And we appreciate your participation in that. Otherwise, we're going to have a nice time. All right. Hello, Wonder Monkey. Hello, Karen. Hello, Ken. Morning, Matt. Excuse me. And bless me. Dustin, good morning to you. Looks like you're getting today what we got in Kansas yesterday. Yeah, I know. It looks a lot like that video you sent me of your backyard. Miserable. 60-second. Hello, Katie. Hello, Kevin. Hello. Yes, where's Barbara? Barbara. I will, Matt. I'm going to stop there before I head home. Actually, I'll stop there first, get my stuff, then head home. What was I going to say? Somebody asked something the other day. Oh, about notifications. Yeah, somebody asked, I get this question often. They're like, is there a way that you can make sure that I get notifications? No. And it's really ridiculous because, they give you those options. Do you want to mute notifications? Do you want some notifications, or do you want all? I forget exactly how they word it. And people who pick all don't always get notifications when we go live. I'm just going to assume that that's YouTube's own goofy thinking, cooked up in a laboratory somewhere, taking out the element of the human condition. And I think that's why they do it. I think some people, it seems to me that some people get the notification when the video is in progress. Others get it right away. And I think the reason for that is they want a fresh coming of people won't stick around long. We have a 30-second attention span, and so most people don't stick. They just kind of flip around until they find something that really gets them. And so the initial, let's say, 15 people that you get could go down to 2 if you only give the notification right away. However, if you give them throughout, then you have a fresh crop of people coming in. I think that's what their thinking is. It's just really annoying because people ask me, same with Patreon, there's a lot of things that are out of my control or out of any, I hate the word, but creators' control, that are simply and strictly controlled by the platforms for whatever reasons they have, and there's nothing I can do about it. And I hate to say to patrons, yeah, you got to call Patreon or you got to email Patreon, because I can't control that. But I have very little control over your relationship with the platform. I have control over your relationship with me, but not with the platform. That makes sense. Fraser Baby says, good morning, Matt. We already have 3 inches in Pittsburgh. We're lucky. We're looking at the satellite. We're like right on the line between snow and freezing rain, which is good, because my back is not in any mood to be shoveling. So there you go on that one there. Matt Gillespie says, will weather delay 6Q's oral exam? Oh, I hope not. Oh, God. No. I hope that's not the case. That would suck. Ty Webb says, AG is the gift that keeps on giving. Been a member for 3 years, but just learned that the 20th Maine didn't charge because they were out of bullets, but because they had the trots from Little Ground Top. Yes. Thanks to Grant and his deep understanding of American history. Kevin says, Forge is here since about 4 a.m. and snowing 1 inch per hour now. Ugh. Where are you, Kevin? I keep forgetting where everybody is. Gaslight, I was looking for your email the other day, and I couldn't remember your name. Gaslight, okay. Have I ever engaged in miniature war gaming? If so, have you heard of the YouTube channel Little Wars TV? I have heard of that channel. I have not engaged. We have been talking about doing some stuff with that. I'm kind of... Actually, that's not true. I wouldn't say I engaged, but I watched years ago, back when the diorama building was called Patriot Point. I had Gettysburg down there, or in that building. That was what am I trying to say here? That was the location for Gettysburg. And one of the tenants had set up in his space a wargaming table. And I don't remember how. I happened to be there and I saw it, and they were playing, and I was like, oh, what's this? And they showed me how it worked. And I thought it was cool. The board was very cool, the map, whatever you call it. The figures were cool. They used cotton balls to indicate that they were firing. I thought that was pretty neat. The hook, like what it is that draws people in, didn't land with with me. Like I couldn't find the hook for me. But years later, you know, I was 27, 28 at the time. Now, as I'm old, I'm like, you know, I wonder what that's about. It requires a little more exploring, and we've got some pretty cool ideas to do with those. Actually, if you could set me up with somebody, I don't know if anybody knows anybody local. They have to be local, who's into that, and they have a setup. We'd like to talk to them. There are war game conventions a few times a year in Lancaster. Oh, maybe we'll have to go to one of those and meet people. Mom 2020 says, good morning. We have about 4 inches here in Hocking Hills, Ohio. Love catching your drives. Thank you very much. I love the sound of Hocking Hills. He says, I think there's a gaming club in Gettysburg at the... Oh, you know what? You're probably right. I'll have to talk to John Zabawa. Zabawa? I'll have to talk to him. Sorry, I hope the vents aren't too loud. Let me turn that down for you. So you can just hear the pitter-patter of freezing rain on the windshield. If you can, I don't know. I never listen to these. Does the microphone cancel out background noise, or how does that work? Little Wars TV is based in York. Oh, that's not far. That's close enough. Enjoyed the video with Eric and JD about the museum expansion last night. Yes, that was a good talk. Yeah, and I don't know what happened to the audio. It sounded very distorted when I was listening to it in my car. I don't know. Oh, I think I know why. Because we use the audio from the camera switcher, not the mixer, not the audio mixer, which is not as good. You guys are lucky, says Ty. I've had 4 inches. He says, I've had 4 inches here for over 30 years. Oh, wait, you guys are talking about snow. Nothing better, ladies and gentlemen, than self-deprecating humor. It is the best kind of humor, and it is a great inoculation when somebody gets offended when you joke around with them. Because you go, hey, look, I make fun of myself worse than I make fun of anybody else. And it's true. But you don't do it for the inoculation. You do it because you hate yourself. See? That was self-deprecating humor. There's Barbara. Barbara made it. Let's see. We are how many minutes in? 13 minutes. Barbara, did you just get a notification, or did you just see that you got one 13 minutes ago? We're trying to figure out how notifications work, and Kevin was cheering that you would get in there soon in the beginning. It's not a chat without Barbara. Am I right, ladies and gentlemen? You know, Barbara, I mean, everybody's got their place, right? All God's critters got his place in the choir. But Barbara's place in the choir is particularly fun and entertaining, especially when she unapologetically is honest with me. Let's go over the first day's battlefield so I don't lose you in the signal. All right, a little slippery there, a little slippery. We're going to take it easy. Let's see. Good morning, Calvin. Wonder Monkey says you'd probably love it down there in Hocking Hills, Matt. I have a friend who has a cabin and some yurts that they rent out down there. It would be awesome getaway for you and Cindy. That does sound nice. It does sound nice. I do enjoy the simplicity of a cabin. Never been in a yurt before, but I do enjoy the simplicity of a cabin. Unless you've got a stomach bug. You know? Wonder Monkey says it's not the same without some Babs. Kevin says the drives aren't very good without Barbara. I agree. Barbara kind of, you know, you guys all hold a good conversation, but Barbara sparks something in me. Barbara says, wow, Kevin, you and Matt are like my groupies. Floridian Approved says, I have all notifications on. I usually don't get any notifications sent to me. My mother usually sends me a text or email that you're on and live. See, that's so weird. I don't understand that. I'll have to do a deep dive into the Google machine because there's got to be a reason for that. That somebody has figured out, or that Google has actually, or YouTube has actually admitted. Barbara says, I think we're having rain today. We haven't had snow yet. Well, you're lucky. You're lucky. Although, you know, I can't complain. Our friend Tim Day told me that they're expecting 6 to 10 inches up there. So, could be worse. Could always be worse. Until it is. Gaslight says, hit the bell when you subscribe to the channel. Yeah, that doesn't do it because there's people that subscribe to all notifications and they get none or they get few. Well, that's what we're trying to figure out. Calvin says it got 3 inches in Michigan, mid-Michigan. Wonder says, I don't see Pasnick in here. Hope he's not buried in that lake effect stuff. I hope so too. I have a project I need his input on. But also I like him. Don't want him to be buried. Matt Gillespie says, I have notifications on but receive them inconsistently. Yeah, I think it's by design, everybody. I think it's by design. Kevin says, oh, Barbara, I don't know where I got Central PA from. How far south in Jersey? Far enough that she considers herself South Jersey and not Central. Which, as I understand it, people in South and Central Jersey don't consider there to be a Central. But in North Jersey, we do. David says, just wanted to tell you again how interesting the interview was with Ben Quina on his 12th South Carolina book. Oh, thank you. Ben's a cool guy. As you know, we both sat next to each other and failed the guide exam in solidarity. And we laugh about it because, you know, that's what you do. You know, as the old song goes, you can laugh when your dreams fall apart at the seams, ... if you are among the very young at heart. And that's what you gotta do to stay young. You gotta laugh when things don't work out. Now, it wasn't a dream for me, but you understand, I'm being a little poetic there, but, and I don't think it was a dream for Ben. But, you know, you still gotta laugh at your failures. Gaslight says, that said, have you ever spoken with the YouTuber History Boy? Yes. About any film stuff, I'm sure. Yeah, so years ago, he was going to make, I think he did it, but he wanted me to narrate a documentary he was making, and I was all willing to do it, but my schedule was hectic, and I never really had the time to sit and do it. And then, like, we actually started to do it, and in the reading of it, and I should have read this beforehand, but I didn't have the time. In the reading of it, I was like, I don't think that's correct. And then, like, a couple of grammatical things, and I was like, you know what? I think you need to go over this with a fine-tooth comb, and then we'll do it again. And we tried, but it never worked out, which is a shame, because I really did want to do it for him, and I still would like to, but he doesn't need my help. He does quite good on his own, quite well on his own. He puts out pretty nice stuff. Kevin says, oh, Burlington, my brother lived there. Oh, heinous and welcome back. I haven't seen you in a while. West Deptford. There you are. And there you will be. Babra says, it looks like you're going pretty fast. What's your speed? We're up to like 58 right now. No, I think that's, I'm at 23. It's not, I would not go higher than 25. It's a little slippery. As I make these turns, I notice it. Young at Heart is one of the few Sinatra songs where I actually prefer another version. Jimmy Durante does it better. Well, Ty, there's no accounting for taste, right? Jim says, I grew up in South Jersey, Gloucester County. And I definitely think there's a Central Jersey. I think it starts around Trenton on the west side and ends at Toms River on the east. That's interesting. Okay, I'll go for that. I don't know. I don't have like a boundary in my head. But like Central Jersey is kind of like, it's like a gradation. That's New Jersey is a gradation. So if you think of like a gradient from black to white, Central Jersey is gray, North Jersey is black with the development and population density, and South Jersey is white with the farms and the wide open spaces and the smaller population. And Central Jersey is kind of somewhere in the middle. Unfortunately for Central Jersey, there might have been just north and south at one time, but then north had no more room and started to sprawl south and created Central Jersey. Maybe that's what happened. I don't know, but as a northern New Jerseyan, I apologize. Gaslight says, no, yeah. I would definitely see if he wanted to do something together. Way more successful doesn't mean talent, and I'm not saying he's not talented. I'm not saying anything at all. I'm saying don't put yourself down. I'm not very successful, but I think I could do a lot better than some things I'm seeing out there, but that has nothing to do with it. Look, there's a band called Greta Van Fleet. They're successful because they were artificially propped up by a record company desperate to get back to I don't know what, but they're widely panned because they sound like Led Zeppelin, and then they have the nerve to say, we don't really know who Led Zeppelin is. Bullshit. So there's many things that contribute to success, and it doesn't mean you're not talented. Heinous and Ananias, I grew up in Pittman. Pro tip, if someone says they're from New Jersey, They're not from South Jersey. Southern Jersey folks always say South Jersey. Yes, you want to separate yourself from the horrors of the North. I understand. Greta Van Fleet is from my hometown. I've partied with them when we were in school. Oh, really? So I was just watching a thing about them. It came up in my feed, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. Because they annoy the hell out of me. No offense to your friends. And because, they're definitely Led Zeppelin. They're good, but they're not listenable. And the singer's gestures and mannerisms and facial expressions and head movements really annoy me. They seem very, what's the word? Artificial, and they're mimics of Robert Plant and Led Zeppelin. And, you can't go see Led Zeppelin the way they used to be, but we have things called recordings. And they sound just as good now as they did before. Anyway, it was interesting, the story of that band, and nothing's real anymore. I don't know why I get disappointed. As long as, we still have the ability to watch old movies and old TV shows, and I think we will for another 10 or so years, I'm okay with nothing good coming out anymore. What was the show we started watching? Oh, Absentia. What a terrible show that is. Like, it's just dumb. But people like it. I can't finish it. I can't get into it. I mean, we watched a season and a half, but finally I was like, can we watch something else? This is terrible. So we started rewatching Curb Your Enthusiasm. I need to laugh. Ken says NPS is closing roads in the park. Well, we are soon about to discover if one of the roads they always close is closed. So let's discover that together. I wouldn't say we were friends, laughing my ass off. When they started and were hometown, they were cool, of course. But as they started to gain success, it was not great. Pretty conceited, and I think they're God's gifts. Yeah. Well, when you don't actually have to earn, and you're just given stuff, it's easy to delude yourself. I think there's a sense out there, perhaps with them and the corporate people that got behind them, that, well, we're not selling to the old timers, we're selling to their kids and grandkids, and their kids and grandkids are completely oblivious to the world that existed before them. And I think they're kind of right, hence the Greta Van Fleet fan base. But I think they're also wrong. I think they underestimate the youngsters, as I have done, but I am starting to turn on that because the more I meet, the more I am like, okay, yep, there you go. East Confederate Avenue is closed. It's closed. Okay, I think I might lose you during the drive-through Lefevre Street here, but we'll see. Hastening says, Greta Van Fleet gestures make me love them. Okay, I like a good frontman. I do too. Nothing like charisma when it's not imitated. Jim Morrison, good frontman. Robert Plant, good frontman. Frederick von Mercury, good frontman. Why? Because they were original. They were themselves. I'm sure they cultivated a little bit of something here and there, and they pulled from other people, yes. But I think it was Mick Jagger who said, we all start off imitating our heroes, but eventually we come out. And That part hasn't happened with Greta Van Fleet. The I hasn't come out yet. Like, we all imitate. All of us imitate. And all the people we imitated. But when you're not aware of who they're imitating, which is my point about their fan base, the youngsters, when you're not aware of who they're imitating, it seems new and it seems fresh. And then this thing happens in your mind when you actually are exposed to, let's say, Led Zeppelin in this case. You go, yeah, but Greta Van Fleet's better. But that's only because you knew them first. And a person who would say that doesn't value originality. It's hard to be original, which is why very few people are. Including myself, by the way. I don't say that as an original. Although there's a lot of things I originally did that are copied, which is, supposed to be something that flatters me. Okay. We'll see. But they weren't original. That's the thing. So I can't get too mad. They were original to the whatever this sphere I operate in is called, but they're not original to the world. All right, let's do some donuts. No, I'm just kidding, guys. That is irresponsible, reckless, and not safe for both me, my vehicle, and anyone who might venture into my path. Let's see, can we see the Jeb Stuart Monument? There it is. Jim says, fun fact, Greta Van Fleet were originally named Greta Van Susteren, but were sued by the TV personality, so they had to change their name. I believe that, because I wonder where that name came from. That's pretty good. Well, now, okay, they just got a point in my book. Wonder Monkey says, ever considered an episode with some of the local relic shops? I've heard bits and pieces talked about, but would love to see. I would love to do that too. I can't, as per my lease agreement. Unfortunately, I would love to. Wonder Monkey says, I'm guessing Bernie Ralph might have a connection. Yeah, sorry, I can't do it. Calvin Klein, Calvin Kynath, is that how you say it? Jim, they were named after a lady in our hometown. Oh, there you go. Okay, so that's what it is. David Armstrong. Oh, you know what? I think I had heard that before. It was a lady in their town. Good morning, David. History Underground says, really want to see the battlefield in wintertime. By the way, thanks for featuring the museum and Giving Tuesday on the channel last night. You're very welcome. Very welcome. Calvin says, Michigan and Nick. Okay. Wonder Monkey says, awesome. Anytime you're on the show, JD. Art imitates life. Yeah. Kevin says, I imitate Matt. Yes, you do. Very, very poorly, by the way. Wonder says, are you bald too, Kevin? Oh, gee, a bald joke. Hazen Cincinnati says, Lady Madonna, McCartney's Lady Madonna voice was a Roy Orbison imitation. I'm trying to remember what song Paul says he was imitating. Wait. It sounds nothing like Roy Orbison. You're saying he was imitating Elvis on Lady Madonna. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, and still, here's the other thing. All these musicians, like McCartney, I've seen tons of interviews with him, and he's like, oh yeah, we lifted this from such and such song, but we just changed it to this. Like, everybody does it. Everybody does it. That's how it's done. You're not stealing, you're influenced or you're borrowing. But there's borrowing, and then there's borrowing heavily. And I would say Greta Van Fleet borrows heavily. But it is nice. See, here's the thing. It is nice to see a young musical act actually playing instruments and playing them well and demonstrating that they understand music and music theory. I have to tip my hat to them for that. Let's see, the History Underground. I once heard someone say, be original just like everyone else. Yeah, exactly. There's no such thing as a pure, true original. There was, and then everybody copied them. I would say, no, I can't even say that anybody that we know from recorded, by recorded I mean recordings, was ever really original, because they probably stole from someone else. And then you go to the days prior to recordings, people, and it was easier to steal because you could be a performer in a town. Let's say you're, an actor and you travel or whatever, and you work with this guy and you're on a contract for 6 months at some theater in, I don't know, Chicago. And, this guy's great, and you steal his style and you employ it and your next gig in Washington. And maybe people who saw you or saw him perform somewhere else come to Washington and they say, oh yeah, you're like George Georgeson. And, but there's no social media. So unless he stands on a corner saying, the actor Robert Hoppersopper is ripping off George Georgeson's style, nobody's going to know and nobody's going to care. So it was easier to steal back then. And then eventually the early days of recording come along. Those guys see people who aren't recorded. They lift their style. I think Elvis, he grew up and going to black clubs, and he ripped off his whole style from watching black performers. So it's what happens. But there's something more to success than that. It's not talent. It's not originality. It's what the French call a certain, I don't know what. And that's it. That and, getting a big record company to artificially prop you up helps as well. All right, enough with Greta goddamn Van Fleet. According to a lot of other bands, Led Zeppelin liked to imitate everyone else. Well, that's the other thing, Ty. Yes, what is that guy's name? I forget. The guy who sued him. And there's recordings of his songs, and they're almost note for note Led Zeppelin songs. And he recorded them first. Heinous and Anus says, Paul was my favorite Beatle. Mine too. My mom said she liked George because he wasn't commonly liked, therefore she felt like she had a chance. My friend liked George because he was a very good songwriter, but overshadowed by Lennon McCartney, and we were in a band at the time, and he felt he was overshadowed by me, and so he related to George. And when we happened to be at a near a thrift store in a strip mall, and I said, hold on one second, Jay. And I ran into the thrift store and I looked around, and then I couldn't find. So I went up to the person and I asked them if they had what I was looking for, and they did. So I bought it for $5 because it was kind of old and a little broken. And I ran out and I went over to him and I started poorly playing a very out of tune violin. Dylan once remarked about Jagger and Stone's copying black blues music. Jagger later produced a show featuring and being praised by those black blues artists. Yes. Yes. Now Dylan, I wish he would try to imitate somebody because I can't stand him. The thing about Dylan is his songs are fantastic and great as long as they're recorded by somebody else. His songs to me remind me of what a band would have as a demo before they actually go and make their album well. They're sketches of songs. Dr. James says, hey Matt, or morning Matt, still snowing here in Harrisburg. Yeah. Oh, you're getting snow? You don't have rain? Heinous and Anna says, George had the first #1 hit after the breakup. That was a new fact to me not long ago. Which one was that? Was that All Things Must Pass? Was that even a hit? Wundermunke says there's an interview with Dave Grohl out there where he talks about one of the drummers he ripped off for Smells Like Teen Spirit and how he ran into him at a party. Michael Jackson ripped off Beat It from Hall & Oates' I Can't Go For That. Not Beat It. Sorry, Billie Jean. The bass line. Billie Jean's do 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 do, right? And I Can't Go For That is boom 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 boom. It's the same damn thing. But certain things like bass lines you can't copyright, and everybody steals from everybody. But look at Billie Jean. You're telling me when Billie Jean came out, to the old timers in the crowd, when Billie Jean came out and you heard it for the first time, did you go, oh, this is Hall & Oates, I can't go for that. No, you didn't, because Michael Jackson made it Michael Jackson's. Heinous and Ane said, did you see the AI song that's a massive hit in the country scene? It's Scary Good, Southern Blues. Of course it's Scary Good. A computer did it. That's why it's scary. No, I haven't. I'm not into country. Cisco Lady says, best hot black coffee flavored coffee in Gettysburg. Go. What in the hell did you just say? Best hot black coffee flavored coffee in Gettysburg. Well, it has to be Little Ground Top. I mean, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Of course it's Little Ground Top. Black with sugar, with syrup, with cream, with sugar and cream, with cream and syrup, with ice cream. Okay, have you tried it with ice cream yet? Oh, you should this Christmas. Get your bag of Little Ground Top, have it at your holiday dinner, and then give everybody a real treat for dessert. When you say you want coffee or tea and they say coffee, don't even ask them. Throw a scoop of vanilla ice cream in there and watch their faces light up. It's a Christmas miracle. Kevin says that sound is deliberate by Dylan, except for his mid-period recordings. Really? That's deliberate. And that generation fell for it, huh? They must have really hated their parents to embrace ugliness like that. Wonder Monkey says, what's the difference between rip-off and influence, though? Oh, influence is like, well, I just told you. So Michael Jackson is influenced by I Can't Go For That. On top now, and there's slight differences to the bass line, but I can sit in front of a piano and I could play you many songs that you know that use that same bass line, or even songs you don't know that I know that use the same notes or progression between the notes, distance, whatever the hell proper term is, intervals between the notes that both of those songs use. I think the key is different, which doesn't really make a difference. And it's what Michael Jackson layers on top of the bass line that makes it different and not a ripoff. Here's a ripoff. Whatchamacallit. It was so much of a ripoff that he recognized it and pre-sued Marvin Gaye's family or estate. And I can't think of the guy's name, Robin Thicke, and that song. And I can't remember the name of the song. It's a good girl. What the hell's the name of that song? Well, whatever. You know the song I'm talking about. That's a ripoff. I guess this could be debated, but Ice Ice Baby steals the bass line to Under Pressure. They sue him. His defense was, theirs goes ding 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 da da ding 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 da da ding ding, and mine goes ding 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 da da ding 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 da da ding ding, and that was his defense. It's one note difference. It's I don't know. I guess you could say that's a ripoff. What's another ripoff song? Huey Lewis sued Ray Parker Jr. for the Ghostbusters song because it was a ripoff of I Want a New Drug. I don't know if he won or not on that one. The thing is melody. You can't copyright chord progressions. You can't copyright bass lines. You can't copyright keys or key changes, but you can copyright melody. That is the only thing that I'm aware of that is considered original. And that is very hard to be original with. Which is, I think, honestly, I think that's why music sucks now, is because everything that could possibly be done by human minds has been done. Now it's like there is no more originality, because the originals were those first generations, or the second generation. Like you got maybe 3 generations. You got like old Hollywood, then you got the next generation of Hollywood, then you got the hippies. And pretty much after that, it's starting to turn to shit. So after the Spielberg generation, the Lucas, like that generation, not that there aren't good ones, but there are fewer and fewer. And same with music. I think the last good period, true, original, free period of creativity was 1965 to 1975. After that, it was kind of just like a bastardization of everything that came before. And people go, oh, what about 80s music? Terrible music. Sorry. Terrible music. Oh, but. No, it's just because you lived through it. But my kids love it. Yes, your kids love it because it's retro. It's over 30 years old. It's retro, just like we love the 60s. But the 60s was actually good. All right, what's the difference between, My Sweet Lord. Oh, man, that's my favorite of his. And he got sued for that by, was it the Shirelles? Was it He's So Fine, I think? He's so fine. Do-lang, do-lang, do-lang. My sweet Lord. Hallelujah. Same thing. So and I think he lost and he has to share royalties with them. So that was, I would bet that would be a subconscious, and that's the other thing that happens. Comedians do it too. Very hard to be original, which is one of the reasons why I don't watch other people's history shows, because it's hard enough to do my own thing. And when you do that, there's still redundancy. And so it's best to just not. For me. It's like Tom Petty once said about copying, there's only so many chord changes. That's right. And there's only so many ways you can arrange them. Coffee that makes you, coffee that tastes like coffee. Thank you. There you go. I'm going to use that in a commercial one day. Matt Gillespie says, if you copy from one person, it's plagiarism. If you copy from several people, it's called research. There you go. Dr. James says, you forgot to say trademark after saying Little Ground Top. Thank you. Little Ground Top trademark. Hinnen Sanane says, in an AI world, maybe enjoy the last of Greta Van Fleet. That's all I'm saying. Well, see, I think that's what it is that I don't like about them, is they remind me of an AI song, an AI band. They feel manufactured, they feel fake, they feel like they're going through the motions of something they learned and learned well. But it still lacks, ironically, that human element. Yeah, that's how I feel about them. They remind me of a Walk Taller song. You know, wow, that's cool. That does sound like the Temptations, but it's not. And you can hear that it's a computer if you listen closely. Heinous Nene says there's only so many notes in in music. Therefore, all music is mathematical combination already written the day the universe was born. Music is not made, it's discovered. Yeah, dude, that is perfect. And you made me say dude, and I usually don't do that. Cisco Lady, there you go. Under Pressure, Ice Ice Baby. Ty says, all I know is that Ice Ice Baby is definitely Under Pressure from Queen and Bowie. No way in hell. Blurred Lines, that's what it's called. Thank you. Not a song worth remembering. Wonder Monkey says, so what's the Marvin Gaye song now? I can't remember that, but it's basically the same song. Some of that stuff is sampled, though, isn't it? Which maybe I'm wrong, but don't they need permission to sample someone else's song? Yeah, I'm confused on sampling. I think I hear some people say as long as it's under so many seconds of a song or so many bars of a song, then you're okay. But then I hear other people do that and still get sued and lose. So I don't know. Why are you sampling? If you're sampling, you're a music fan. You're not a musician. Thank you. Ty Webb says, wasn't it John Fogerty that was sued by his label for Yes, he was. That's a whole other twisted. See, that's the corruption of the music business there. You write the song, but you lose the rights to it. I mean, I guess that's just life. And like, think about it. Like, I remember one of my friend's father worked as a scientist for one of these, big companies. I forget which one it was. And he developed, like, in some cases, invented and developed many things that they use. But because he was a salaried employee and he signed his life away when he took the job, he gets no royalties from that. Which, sucks. But when you're young and you take a job out of college, you're like, yeah, whatever, man. You're offering me $85,000 a year right out of college. Okay, dude, that's a lot of money. Then you realize you could have made a lot more money if you got royalties. But then the thing is, you wouldn't have gotten the job if you demanded royalties. They would have been like, okay, we'll find another sucker. So that's how it works. It's you got to be very careful. And then you come up with something, right? I don't know. It's whatever. It's Sting and Diddy, $2K a day. From what's that song? Yeah, Every Breath You Take. Morning, everyone. Central Jersey here. Good morning, Michael. Heinous and Anus says, Calvin, blurred line still makes me pump every time I hear it. I can't explain it. I remember when that song came out that year. Every time it came on, I'd always, like if I was at work and it came on the radio, I'd always find myself tapping my foot. It's a good drum beat. And it was really good when Marvin Gaye's drummer came up with it. And it's still good. Kevin says, Heinous and Neil Young was one artist I recall saying the songs don't belong to the writer. They just flow through the writer. Yeah. Who said that? Yeah, Neil Young. He said that, or you're saying that about him? Neil Young, I would say, okay, then give your royalty checks to someone else. Look, he's right, but he's wrong. Like in a spiritual sense, in a highfalutin sense, he's right. They don't belong to the writer. They flow through the writer. I agree with that. But in the worldly sense, they belong to somebody. So hopefully the writer gets a little cut. Kevin says, oh, I read that one already. All right, so I'm going to go, and I'm going to, what am I going to do? Get some coffee. Neil didn't say the publishing rights just flowed through. No, he didn't. Wouldn't that be nice? Won't that be nice? I'm going to go get some coffee. And AI killed not only the video star, but it's going to kill all the stars. The music stars, the video stars, the YouTube stars. They're all going. A real person will, again, be viable, but it will become a novelty. All I'm saying with the history AI channels that I guarantee you're all watching, be careful of believing it. I mean, obviously, if you watch one of those AI videos about Gettysburg or the movie Gettysburg, you've listened to Addressing Gettysburg long enough to know where they're wrong, and they are. But it's important that you let other people know when you hear, oh, I watched this video, it's an AI channel. Warn them. If you really want to know, don't believe what they say. I wouldn't even watch them. As far as like AI is helpful. I'm not going to deny that I haven't used AI to help me with things, but I use it to help me save time. I'll give you an example. The Tavern Talks, right? So we're going to record an intro of me reading off of a teleprompter, a short 30,000 foot background as to what you're about to watch. I got together with each of the, I still have to get together with Jen, but I've gotten together with the other 3 historians to write these scripts. Now, with the time it takes to do all the other shit I have on my plate, if I have to sit and write the script myself, and by that I mean coming up with tone, voice, the language, the way I will speak it, and all that other stuff. Am I going to be casual? Am I going to be formal? Well, it's got to be casual, so, okay. But I don't want to sound like I'm just coming off the street either, so there's like a balance there. Well, I'm not going to sit there and make Doug Dowd sit with me for an hour and a half as I go, wait, should I say it this way or should I say it that way? I need Doug Dowds for the information. But I also know that with all the other work I have to do, and now the holidays are coming, I'm not going to have the time to sit and write them myself. So before I met with Doug, I went into AI. I explained what I want, how I want it to sound, the voice to use, the tone to use, yada, 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 certain phrases, certain moments that I want it to mention. And then it filled in all the rest. And I went through it and I go, no, I don't like that, change that. And then, so there, it's something to build on. It gives me a framework to build on or scrap. But it really, like, you know, I've said to Grant before, I've like, Grant, if you're not going to tell me what program you're using to make these goofy videos, would you at least help me become competitive in the AI world by making some actual AI history videos that I can put on YouTube? And he's like, sure, mate. But then he never really does, because he'd rather make bald jokes and old jokes, and little ground top gives him the shit jokes. Okay, fine. But the more I think about it, it's like, okay, you can try to be part of the world that's changing, or you could be a troglodyte, which I don't want to be a troglodyte, but, you know, at the same time, it really is a, like, moral dilemma for me, because, like, my integrity vomits at the idea of AI videos and AI music. AI assistance is different. I'll give you an example of that. When we edit the Tavern Talks, and when we did the commercial for Patreon, I employed AI on the microphones. And what the AI does is it gets rid of the background noise. Court and Mike they had microphones under their shirts or jackets, so you couldn't see it on camera, but they were windy days. And when they move, the fabric sometimes makes a noise, like a rubbing noise. So AI just cleans that up in like the flip of a switch. That saves me a lot of time. But AI did not make those cuts. AI did not frame those shots. AI did not direct Court and Mike. AI did not write that. That was me and us. And so, yeah, so AI is good, but we're going to be overtaken by people who don't have the integrity, and they just want the clicks, they want the revenue. And I get that. Money's nice. I would love to have more of it, but I can't sell myself out. At least not at this point. I can't sell myself out for that by putting out stuff that's embarrassing. I mean, some of these Gettysburg videos I'm seeing that use AI, like, they're not even getting the uniforms right. Yeah, they're getting a lot of the information right sometimes, but the visual is wrong. Part of history is what it looked like. So, you know, I really do hope that most people, well, actually, it's not true. I see a brand new channel do an AI Gettysburg or other history video, and within a day, it's got like 100,000 views, and the channel's only got like 500 people following it. So YouTube is definitely pushing that shit more, but whatever. It is what it is. I just got to figure out a way to adapt. Point is, AI can be helpful. So what we did with the scripts was Jim came in, Doug came in, Ken Gavin came in, and when Jen comes in, I'll say to her what I said to them, which is, here's what AI came up with. Let's go through it. I've already kind of tweaked, you know, language and stuff and flow, but I need you to go through it and make sure we're getting the information right. And like, I think Jim had 3 changes to make to the information, but they weren't wrong. They just needed to be clarified a little better. And Doug, I think, had 2. And he was like, that's actually really good. He goes, but, you know, I would just change the wording of this because the way it's worded makes it sound like this happened when really it was this that happened. I was like, great, perfect. The rest of that hour and a half I spent with Doug, we probably spent 6 minutes on the script. The rest of the hour and a half I spent with Doug was just talking, and we came up with a pretty good idea for another show. So actually, it saved me time working on that one thing, and the conversation that ensued led to a good idea for something that we can do in the future. So I look at that as a double win in that if he spent an hour and a half with me just going through the wording of the whole thing and all that other stuff, we wouldn't have had that other idea. So hell yeah, man. Enjoy being in Gettysburg. God bless. Michael says someone could make a fake address in Gettysburg with fake Matt AI. Yikes. Somebody's already doing that, Michael. Ty Webb says, watched one on the first day of Gettysburg. The info wasn't ridiculous, but they tried to make photos of the fighting and they made Cemetery Hill look like Mount Suribachi. Yeah. I know. Are you trying to tell me that cats actually don't actually work at Starbucks, says Cisco Lady Liberty? Yes, I'm trying to tell you that. I'm surprised you didn't know that. Calvin says, I have a rule where I don't watch any history content unless I see the channel creator or host in the video or have been following them since before AI was the rage. Yeah, I do that too. I want to see the person who's making it. Haynes says, I'm a troglodyte. My favorite song is Love Is All Around Me, The Trogs. Oh, that's a good one. Integrity is everything. Well, it's certainly a lot if it's not everything. But if you don't have that, or you feel you've betrayed what you consider your integrity, then what good is it? Haynes says, AI made all those snowy landscape scenes in Gettysburg Christmas. You can tell because there are no credits saying otherwise. That's funny. I'm going to tell Bo that way. That's good. See, Bo, people think you used AI now. Does anybody notice in the scene when they're driving, with all my footage in the background, the one-way signs are pointing the wrong way? Did anybody notice that?